Yes, but you know who else might have some contusions? How about that Carson Wentz? How about the guy who wanted out of town? The guy who wanted to take his ball and run home and run to Indianapolis, which was going to be football heaven. Then he gets shipped out of there. Now he's down in D.C., and the Eagles kicked his freaking ass yesterday. That's what that was. Let's call it the way it was. 9 sacks. The offensive line for the Skins, or for the Commanders, couldn't hold up. And Carson, as usual, has no internal clock, and it was an absolute beatdown. 24-8 does not do justice to what that game was yesterday. Let's go, everybody. Yes, the football team is 3-0. They smacked around the Washington Commanders. Welcome in. Happy Monday. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derrick Gunn. Stretching it out. Barrett Brooks, already stretched. Rob Ellis, fully hydrated. We are ready to rock and roll. What's happening, fellas?
I just love what I saw yesterday, man. Utterly and totally dominated. Period.
Yes. Dominated.
With the exception of punt return. I mean,
dude, let me tell you something.
Kobe gonna get killed, man.
My man is gonna break in half at some point.
Right.
He does not know how to protect his body. He took 2 chest. That boy's gonna have chest contusions before the season is over.
Yes.
He's got to learn to get down, man.
Yes, but you know who else might have some contusions? How about that Carson Wentz? How about the guy who wanted out of town? The guy who wanted to take his ball and run home and run to Indianapolis, which was going to be football heaven. Then he gets shipped out of there. Now he's down in D.C., and the Eagles kicked his freaking ass yesterday. That's what that was. Let's call it the way it was. 9 sacks. The offensive line for the Skins, or for the Commanders, couldn't hold up. And Carson, as usual, has no internal clock, and it was an absolute beatdown. 24-8 does not do justice to what that game was yesterday.
It got to a point where, you know, as a football fan, when you have a team, and especially when you're playing a division rival, you want them to beat the snot out of that team, right? It got to so pathetic to a point where I feel sorry for Carson. I was like, don't hit him again, please. Don't hit him again. And then I said, it's Carson. Tear his butt up. Just tear him up.
Yeah,
Let him remember the night
mercy.
He played the Eagles.
Yeah, no mercy. Sweep the leg, man. There was no mercy yesterday.
That was sweep the leg.
I'm telling you, man. They just took it to him and put it on him, and that was phenomenal. Phenomenal. And I know everybody watching, and we are going to explode today. Everybody in the chat room, everybody hitting that like button, man, was feeling the same way yesterday. That was something to behold. That was awesome.
Well, I mean, come on, man. I mean, it was hard to find something to bitch about. Yeah, we can talk about they didn't score again in the second half. I'm not worried about it. When you totally dominate a team like that, they could put it on anytime they wanted to. They could run what they want to, man. They just chose to call the dogs off. I can't be mad at that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They still have a lot more to go.
Yes.
But when you look at this team, man, I knew that their offensive line was going to be in trouble.
Yes.
I knew they were going to be in trouble. I got just, you know, everybody's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That offensive line is better. And then I look at the game like, well, I hate to say I told you so, but I knew they were just sorry. That was a sorry offensive line. In no way did I think they would be able to compete with the defensive line, our defensive line. We didn't really have to blitz. Even though we did blitz, what we call it dogs. When you send linebackers, we send dogs for the most part, not blitzes. Blitzes when you blitz from the secondary, like a corner or a safety. We send dogs. When you send linebackers called, you send the dogs.
You didn't even have to use the linebackers much.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was a 4-man rush. And I still don't believe this Eagles 4-man rush, to be honest with you. I don't believe they're good enough to get home consistently like some 4-man rushes across the league. But yesterday, they beat that AA farm team offensive line into submission right out the gate. But part of the problem is Carson still has not learned his lesson. He still holds the ball too long. I'm sitting back 1,001, 1,002. It's like he's always looking to make the perfect throw.
Yep.
You have 3 athletic receivers. Let them go up and make some plays. Terry McLaurin was a non-factor until the second half, just like Adam Thielen last week. I mean, if I'm Carson Wentz's offensive mates, I'm having a closed-door meeting with him not being there and calling the offensive coordinator and say, look, man, we got to do something here. Where's Heineke when you need him?
Right.
Heineke in the game. Yeah, and
Right.
I can see that happening by week 5 or 6.
I think it's headed there, Derek.
Yeah, Heineke's going to be in the game. You paying Carson $35 million, and this is what you get for it?
They paid 35. I thought it was 28.
28, 35 is still 25 too
listen,
much.
He's a shot fighter. This is what it is. It's not changing. He has no internal clock. He still plays hero ball too much. Derek was having some internet issues. We'll get him straightened out there. But Barrett, it's all the stuff that we saw in 2020 when this all went to hell in a handbasket, man. He's the same guy. He hasn't learned
Same guy.
bit. And especially Barrett, when you start getting him to him and your team gets down, then he's gone, man. He just completely checks out.
It's like when I was talking to Mulhern, my producer for my for NBC. He turned around and said he thinks that when the pass rushers, when the offensive tackles push the pass rushers up the field and they go around, it's like they disappear. They're no longer pass rushing anymore. So when they go around the hump, he thinks they just disappear. So when they come back and sack him, he's like, well, where did he come from?
Yeah, he has no peripheral
vision. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, he's on the downside slide, and it's going very, very quickly. But here's the beauty of this.
He stayed even. No, he's playing the same way he's played since he left Philly.
Yeah, which is bad.
Since after the Super Bowl, he started getting those injuries. He's played the same way. It's the same way. He isn't getting any better. He isn't getting any worse. He's just staying the same.
Yep.
Status quo. If you're doing that, you're not getting better. So you got to get better. You always got to get better. And
I think the other thing that's if you just look at it from an Eagles fan standpoint, like, hi Derek, welcome back.
Hello, fellas.
That's better. That's way better.
It's like
Yeah.
Okay. It's like your former, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever that dumped you, that wanted out of the relationship, which he wanted. Make no mistake, he wanted out of here. He wanted out, and then you have a new person in your life, and you're super happy with the person in your life right now, and you see that person, and it hasn't worked out. That's what this is. I mean, Carson is on his third team in 2 years. And Jalen Hurts has elevated his game to the point where he's playing at elite level. He is an elite quarterback right now. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. The comp between the two couldn't be more of a contrast. One's up here and one is dropping like they got, cement loafers on, being thrown into the Schuylkill River.
And he's still getting paid all that money.
He is. All right. That's okay.
$28 million.
And they're going to lose. That's okay.
And they can't bench him. They can't bench him. Tyler Heineke is definitely better than him at this point.
Yeah,
I bet you by week 5 or 6, if this keeps up, they bench him.
I don't know, man.
I bet you they bench him.
Oh, I agree. He's going to be benched.
Do you realize through the first 2 weeks of the season, Washington has the lowest fan attendance interest in the entire National Football League? Yesterday was a home game for the Eagles. That tells you how the fan base feels about that team right now down there. You have to figure it out just the way the Eagles figured it out with Carson when they decided to eat that $34 million cap. Do we want to win now? I mean, we've already got a black eye. There's so much focus on some of the outside stuff that has been going on over here that the feds are bringing to light with the owner, former front office personnel, that people have soured on this product, and then we put a product like that on the field. Now, for whatever reason, if Tyler Heineke can come in there and give us a jolt, we have to sit this dude. We need to win now. We need to change the image of what we are right now. If then you get exactly what you deserve.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
Ron Rivera will be coaching for his job. Therefore, he's going to do whatever he has to do to try to get this thing turned around. On top of the fact that you may not be hearing it right now, but I guarantee you, Terry McLaurin, Samuel, Dotson, etc., are going to start getting ticked off. And I know McLaurin put up numbers which were garbage time numbers, but they're going to start getting ticked off eventually, which also will put pressure on them making a change with Carson. 100% it will.
It's funny that it wasn't that long ago we were verbally lambasting Howie. Why would you draft a quarterback in the second round who is projected to go in the third or fourth round? What are you doing when you already have your franchise quarterback in-house? What are you even thinking here? And now look at the two scenarios. One is spiraling out of control the wrong way. The other one is slowly ascending in the right direction. So, Howie, we all have to eat a little crow right now.
Yeah, Look, it's on that, on top of all the other offseason moves, Howie's looking real good right now. I mean, this team can hurt you in so many different ways. You saw the pass rush yesterday, 9 sacks. I mean, 9 freaking sacks yesterday. You saw the week before, the defensive backs just basically said to Justin Jefferson and crew, all right, we're taking you out of this game. We've seen an offense, right, that can pound the ball. We know that. They didn't have great running numbers yesterday, but we know they can run the ball. An offensive line that, I was a little bit banged up yesterday, but an offensive line that's one of the best, if not the best in the league. 2 phenomenal receivers. I mean, Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper, goes bananas yesterday. Okay. A.J. Brown, another really good game. Dallas Goedert isn't even being used that much, but he's an elite tight end. This team is stacked across the board.
Yes, they are. It's hard to defend.
Give me a weakness right now in their game. Special teams, the only thing we got.
Yeah, special teams. The special teams, they're going to be looking for a new special teams coach after this season. Because this on the punt returns alone, we're sitting there watching the game with I'm watching it with Seth and Mike Missinelli and Devin Caney, and I'm screaming, and Seth is screaming at the set. Nobody's blocking for Kobe when he gets the punt. You got people running down the field watching. There's nobody blocking. Turn around and hit somebody.
They are holding the guy up and then getting him blasted.
Yes.
Blasted.
Man.
That is crazy, man. I thought they were going to have to take that kid into
he won't last. You can't be a $165 and last with that kind of.
No, man.
That
But dude's gonna be sipping soup through a spoon. He keeps this up.
But again, that's certainly the special teams need to be better. And I know people are going to make a big deal about the scoring in the second half. To me, like, Washington's playing 2 teams in the second half. They're playing the Eagles and the clock, and your approach is not the same in the second half if you're not up by that margin. It's a lot different. It's more of a first half approach. So I don't. Is it something to keep your eye on? Yes. Is it a fair thing to have there and say, I would like to see that be better? For sure. But I'm not obsessing or panicking over this. I don't think it's that big a deal.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, though. I need whatever Fletch and Brandon are taking right now, whatever miracle drug they're having, I need some right now, because both of those guys look like they were spring chickens.
Yeah.
Like, they're 26, 27 years old. They played amazingly yesterday.
They did.
Amazingly.
It's about time from Cox. We've been screaming about Fletcher Cox for 2 weeks. About time. He got his. About time Brandon got off, man. 2.5 sacks, and he only played, what did he play, like 27 snaps, 2.5 sacks, played phenomenal game, took advantage of a very inferior offensive tackle situation. And even Hassan Reddick finally got his.
What I say? I said, look.
Finally.
Look, Cosme was their medicine. They needed that elixir. He was that elixir for them. I say, if they don't get a sack versus Cosme and Leno, they didn't need to be in the league.
Yeah.
They did not need to be. That was, to me, that was the key matchups. Their tackles against Hassan Reddick or whoever else was rushing them.
Well, I think, just to back to Brandon for a minute, 34 years old coming off an Achilles, looking the way that he looked that's hard to do, man. It is. He really deserves a lot of props. It was no absolutely question. Unbelievable.
Well, if you keep him around the 27, 28 snap range, which is what he said, he's told us that on this show back in the spring. If he played like 30% of the snaps, he's fine with that because he feels a lot fresher going into that fourth quarter, 34 years old. And the way they rotate their defensive linemen right now, if they continue to get productivity like that, keep playing him 27, 28% snap. He's still getting paid his money. Bottom line, he's getting paid whether he plays 58 or 28 snaps. BG, and he's like a spring chicken. He's like a kid in a candy store. He's just happy to still be playing at 34 years of age and playing at a high level.
Well, I just think from a confidence standpoint, too, to get Reddick going, like to get him off. And I know he said, hey, I understand that sacks sometimes come in bunches, he said after the game and all that. But for him to be able to get a few, I feel great about him now going into next week. He's got to feel good about what's going on.
Right. Absolutely. And they're going to have their work cut out for him next week. We'll get on next week. But I love the fact of how they called the game. Number one, I got to give OC his credit. I got to give DC their credit. They called an amazing game for him. An amazing game.
They did. Steichen needs to start getting more love.
Yes.
You know, we're hyper-focused on Gannon because everybody wants to bury him. And by the way, there is still room on the Gann wagon. So come on. 8 points. Two were result of a safety. Come on. Get on. Let's go. You can poo-poo it all you want, Gunner. Gann wagon is rolling strong.
No, I didn't poo-poo it. I said last week I had both arms across the rail. Now this week I got one foot up on the rail, so there's about a third of my body in the Gann wagon, but I'm still I still need 2 or 3 weeks.
Barrett and I are having a good time, man. Wait, we got food on there. There's all kinds of good. Yeah, you're missing a fun time.
Man, nobody want no dry Cheerios and water and iced tea.
Playing a ton of Cheerios. Yeah, Barrett's got some fish on the back end.
I got a little Bud Light going. I drink Budweiser.
We're throwing a few back. We got a driver. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, did you see? And I want to hear from anybody in the chat room. Please jump in and let us know if you were at the game yesterday. If you went down to DC, and then anybody streaming, anybody listening, you want to jump into the chat room as well. But check out this picture. This is the Washington Post, guys. Okay.
Yep.
I see 1, 2, 3. I see 3 burgundy jerseys. That is in Washington. That's not at the link.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yep. I'm not surprised. It happens every year.
No.
Yes, it does.
That cannot be the stadium.
Barrett,
yes, it is.
That is the cover of the Washington Post.
Barrett, I can't tell you how many times I've been in that stadium and seen more green jerseys than burgundy jerseys in that stadium in the last 10 years.
That's a straight takeover.
I hate to say back in my day, but whenever I went up to that stadium, bruh.
That was a different deal.
Oh, man, I had the people with the hog noses on, suspenders. And it was a different atmosphere, but then, it's much better. Like Darryl Green. I played against Darryl Green, man. I played against Ken Harvey. Guys like that, man. When they felt proud about being Washington.
There's no pride now at that place.
None whatsoever.
No, there's shame. That's what Daniel Snyder's done to that place. It's shame. It's the opposite.
Ever since Gus Frerotte knocked himself out, he was my quarterback in Detroit. He came to Detroit that next year after he knocked himself out. But he was my coach. I was like, dude, what were you thinking about? I said, man, I didn't hit it the right way. See,
I wasn't thinking much. Yeah.
The pole was right there. I was supposed to hit where the pole wasn't there. That way my head would have went through it.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
just good lesson for the kids.
Right.
You got this team playing in a cesspool of a stadium. That stadium is abysmal, atrocious, horrendous. It's by far the worst stadium I've had to go to in a long time. It's just terrible. Well, fans shouldn't have to pay. They should get rebates on their tickets going to that stadium.
Right. Well, because I admit I was in the worst stadium when I was playing my first 4 years.
The Vet.
Oh my goodness.
The Vet was the worst stadium.
It was like a haunted house.
But it was a decided advantage for us.
It was. It's not them.
Yeah.
Playing on concrete.
Yeah, the thing is, as ugly and bad as the Vet was, A, it intimidated opponents, and B, there was never takeovers from other cities.
No,
heck no.
We weren't having that, man.
Plus, the real treat was watching cats run under your feet, while you're out on the field. Like, what the heck is this? I've never seen anything like that. What the heck is this?
Bro, I told you, my rookie year, we're playing Tampa Bay. And it's like the middle of the third quarter. And I look up the 700 level real fast. I look up there. And there's a big black dude up there, dog. I knew he was big because he looked big from down on the field. So you knew this dude was huge. And all I see him is his hands waving in the air, and all of a sudden I see him pick a guy up and throw him down to the 500 level, over that ledge. He threw him over it. I'm like, yo, what was that? So then Cunningham, Randall Cunningham looks at me, hey, pay attention. Then Guy Max on, yeah, man, pay attention. I said, yo, look up there. And as soon as they look up there, Riley McKenzie, him, all those guys look up there. He throws another person over. And I was like, yo, look at this. And Guy Mack never cussed. He said, oh, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We had to call a timeout.
Oh, my God.
We had to call a timeout. It was crazy, man. They threw he threw 2 people from over the top to the fifth.
Wow.
That was crazy.
I believe it.
Throwing people over the top?
Yeah, that kind of stuff was a daily occurrence during a 3-hour game.
I feel bad for the people that's underneath.
That's right. Hit. You're like, you just kind of enjoy. What just happened?
Right.
No, but yeah, 3-0, guys. 3-0 here, and there's 3 undefeated teams. It's the Eagles, the Dolphins, and the Giants. And I'm not sure the Giants tomorrow are still going to be an undefeated team, but they're the 3 teams. That's it.
What I tell you guys Friday? My upset specials. Did they
that?
all
How
come
about
true?
that? Yes.
They all came
Yes.
true. I said there
Very
would
good.
be at least 4 teams that dropped from the ranks in the unbeaten this weekend.
Yep.
So far, 3 of them have dropped, and I do believe Dallas with Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush will outplay Daniel Jones tonight.
Let me ask you guys, do you have 2017 vibes off of this team?
Wow.
I know it's early, and I'm going there.
I actually do. I actually do. I think that
wow.
It's almost like I felt like it was almost destined for that team to be successful in 2017. Like after I saw that kick by Jake Elliott, the 61-yard kick.
Yep. Which was the anniversary. I think Sunday or Saturday was the anniversary of that.
So once I saw that, I was like, yo, this is going to be the perfect season. And then the very next week, I think the next week we played against the Chargers.
Yes.
And LeGarrette Blount ran that 60-yard run, and I could see the entire defense jumping up and down on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And how they approached the season after that was just magical. Like they couldn't be stopped. And I'm looking at this offense, I'm looking at the defense, I'm seeing the same type of characteristics and how they're approaching the game. I told you, they don't care who they're playing. All they care about is how they're playing. They're crossing their T's and dotting their I's. They're worrying about them and how they play as opposed to worrying about how the other team is going to try to stop them. They figure if we go out there with our game plan, you have to stop us.
Yep.
And that's a great way of thinking because I can remember, I always do this, but the year I won the Super Bowl, even the year before that, we lost one game. The year before that, then we lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion. It's supposed to be an all-Pennsylvania Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But we would go weeks at a time without dropping a ball in practice. Weeks at a time. Would not drop a ball in practice. And then we get to the game, and it was like a dress rehearsal, and it was easier in the game than it was in practice. Well, I think they're going about it the same way. It's easier for them when they're out there in the game than it is in practice because they're going so fast. The speed is so competitive, and those guys are trying to work their butts off.
In the practices, yeah.
And also, I was crying. I got to take it on the chin again. I was crying about them going out there and not practicing. They had 16 or 14 guys not practicing. Who are they to sit guys down? Hey, boss, do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, worked. Hard to argue right now.
Right,
yeah.
It worked. It worked.
Yeah.
No, they're playing at a very high level. I mean, I'll give you this one. Just first halves, okay? First half stat. They're outgaining their opponent in the first half, guys, by 652 yards.
I'm not surprised.
Okay? They're coming out. They're coming out and they are unloading. And yeah, would you like to see it for 4 quarters? Yeah, of course you would. You would like to see more offensive output in the second half. Not defense. Defense was fine. Offensive output, sure. But they are swinging. They're not coming out conservative. They're coming out like haymakers. And that's a great way to put a team on its heels. That's exactly what they're doing here. I mean, keep in mind, this team had 29 sacks all of last year. Yep. 29 and 9 yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. No
this
question
is a different
about
team, man.
Think about what that number statistic might have been like you just mentioned had they not stumbled the first 2 series yesterday. Right. Where Hurts started off 1 for 5, and but once they clicked, they picked up steam in a hurry. They said, okay, enough of this mess. And picked up steam in a hurry, man. And after that, it was no contest from that point on.
Yeah, it was no moss. And I'll tell you what, look, Barrett, you can speak to this as a former player. You tell me, do you think there was any way, shape, or form that Wentz or anybody on the Commanders thought they had a chance in that second half?
Absolutely not. You can see it. You can see in their demeanor. You can see him on defense the way he walked around. Carson Wentz, he walked that. He's good for that. Walking around with his head down, not want to look anybody in the eyes, looking in the huddle. There were a couple guys out there still trying to fight, but the offensive line was just done. Mm-hmm. Cosman was done. Leonard was done. They just didn't have it, man. They didn't have it. Look at the demeanor of the receivers. They said no mas. As soon as you stepped on the field, it's like they just took over. You knew what was going down. And they're starting to get that mentality that, all right, when we step on this field, were the best in the NFL. And at this point, it'd be hard pressed for anybody to try to convince me that the Eagles aren't the #1 team in the NFC.
Yeah, I will say this: I was a little surprised. Washington's defense didn't play.
Oh,
it's bad. What?
Did you guys see what I just said?
What, #1 team in the NFC?
Yes.
I can't argue with that. I'm not going to argue against that right now. I can't argue against that. No question. There's no question. Washington's defense didn't play as bad as I thought it would. Those young boys in the back end, they battled as much as they could, but your defense can only hold up so much if your offense is giving them absolutely nothing.
Right.
You can't be leaving the defense out there forever. But I thought Washington's defense was scrappy, considering those 2 tackles they have.
Oh, they was wearing it. Yeah, they were wearing them out. Let me tell you something.
Dude, I hate to say this, Barrett, because you're an offensive lineman. I know how you feel about your Eagles offensive line. But I'll tell you what, Allen and Duran, dude, they wore out your center and guards. At one point in the game, third quarter, I saw Duran Payne pick up Sua Opeta and body slam, bam, in the backfield. I'm like, oh, no. And Opeta's a big boy. And he ran right through Opeta, man.
That's because a few snaps earlier, he did the same thing to Sayamalu.
Oh.
But it was a pass play. They were lighting them up, man. I was watching film today. I had to get off, that's why I wasn't done watching the film when you guys were trying to make me stay in our meeting, our pre meeting.
Yes, Barrett. That's what
we're trying
to
watch
Barrett.
The game, man.
Yes.
So I'm watching the game and I'm watching Sayamalu. He had a rough one yesterday. He had Suapeta had a rough one. Dickerson had a rough one yesterday. A really rough. Kelsey.
And Dickerson, to his credit's playing out. He's hobbled. I mean, he had a bad foot.
Foot injury, yeah.
But I'm telling you what, there wasn't nothing wrong with Sayamalu, and Payne was giving him everything he wanted.
They're good. Those two were studs.
Isn't Sayamalu like 330, something like that? 325, 330?
A little smaller than that. Probably around 320. Yeah, around 320, 315.
It's still 320, man. I mean,
yeah, bro. But you're talking about 2 elite level tackles.
No question.
Like if those tackles, if they played 85 to 90% of the snaps.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the Eagles had over 60 snaps.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about how many reps that is,
it's a lot.
That's an awful lot to be asking guys to go out there and stay out there on passing downs, run downs, goal line downs, special teams down. That's a lot of reps that these guys are playing.
Yeah, and look, if they were on a better team, they would get more love. That's for sure. But bottom line is, Eagles take care of business handily, and now 3-0 on the season. All right, so we come back, guys. We'll dive a little bit.
Rob. I'm sorry. Hold up, Barrett. I'm a little disappointed in you.
Why is that?
Because the game of the weekend was K-State upset Oklahoma, and you're not dressed in K-State gear. Seriously, why are you not dressed in K-State gear head to toe today,
bro? I got a visor. But I couldn't find one on a purple shirt. I got a visor that I was going to put on, but I was like, no. But
hoodie,
you know what?
T-shirt, something?
You know what? Hold on.
B. Brooks, seriously?
All right, Barrett's grabbing his gear, I'm assuming, from the Kansas State win. Here we go.
Does he have a trap door by it?
All right.
That's more like it. That's more like
Don't think I didn't have it ready.
I like the lid.
I was looking for my purple shirt, but I didn't have any K-State ones. All I have was my fraternity.
Their quarterback is Adrian Martinez, who's in his 17th year of college football. For people who didn't know,
at Nebraska.
Barrett played with him, I think.
Right. I was like, I felt like I played against him. I mean, he's probably got a son. He's probably got a son in high school that's ready to commit for Kansas State now.
It's going to be like LeBron and his kid. They're going to end up playing together. Right. I don't know how that even works. But anyway, hey, congrats. That was a big win. That
huge
awesome.
win. Huge win.
Good way to start.
Here we go, Wildcats. Here we go.
I mean, look. We come back. We're going to dive into the defense and the offense. And think about this, guys. The Eagles dominate offensively without Hurts really doing a ton, from a running standpoint. And you look at the defense. You Jonathan Gannon, man. Maybe you don't have to send a whole lot of extra pressure because your interior defensive line and your guys on the outside just absolutely played unbelievable. All right, let's dive into it. We keep going. Eagles beat Washington 24-8, now 3-0 on the season. A little later, we'll do the whole NFL card because there were some big-time games yesterday, some unbelievable efforts that we continue to see. We got an announcement on the halftime performer, some Pro Bowl changes, rules changes, which we'll dive into. A lot of stuff to get to over the course of the next 2.5 hours. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how my man gonna say we played our Super Bowl and we suck. What school did you go to, Jason? I need to know that. What school did you go to before we can talk? I need to know. Talking about Kansas State. We beat Oklahoma, number 6 team in the country.
Yes.
Say what you want to say.
Preach it, Brooks. Preach it.
It's all spoiled grapes anyway. Anything else that's dead. All right, so we'll dive into all of that. You don't want to go anywhere. By the way, let's crush the likes today. Let's crush it today. All right, let's up the ante today. Let's bring it to the Eagles level today with the likes. We will continue with the Eagles discussion. You don't want to miss it. You're not getting this kind of analysis anywhere else. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, D Gunn, B Brooks, R Ellis. Let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because knowing who to trust with your finances can be tricky, right? It can be a very difficult thing. You work hard. You want to find the right person that you can trust with your money, with your hard-earned money, and with your retirement, and just trying to get the kids through college, whatever the ambition and the goal is for you. I found the right person, and it's Jim Murray, and it's Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, you may have a small business, you're trying to figure out your employee benefits, he can help you with that as well. I've entrusted my IRA, 401k rollovers with Jim, you name it, and it has been the best thing that I could have done. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email him at Murray, MURRAY, .jim@principal.com, Murray.jim@principal.com.